Howdy, my friends, and welcome to the Chris Salcedo Show here on Newsmax TV. Accountability is in short supply when it comes to the American left. The double standards that are being supported and promulgated by the biased press, the cancerous cancel culture, and the socialist Democrats breed distrust, divisiveness, and resentment. Pretending that there is only one point of view that is worthy of consideration is factually incorrect. It's spurious and dangerous. Lies, liars, and the biased press. That's our focus in tonight's preamble. In shocking proof of a Chris Salcedo Show axiom, nobody fails up like a liberal, NBC nightly news host Lester Holt accepted the prestigious Edward R. Murrow Award. He then proceeded to give a definition of journalism that would have Mr. Murrow rolling over in his grave.
I think it's become clearer that fairness is overrated. Well, before you run off and tweet that headline, let me explain a bit. The idea that we should always give two sides equal weight and merit does not reflect the world we find ourselves in. That the sun sets in the west is a fact. Any contrary view does not deserve our time or attention. Now, I know recent events assure that you won't have to look far to find more current and relevant examples.
Okay, fairness is overrated, says the NBC host. In the interest of fair disclosure, I was a Lester Holt fan when I was in television news. To see him making such absurd arguments stings even more because of that fact. His argument is fatuous at best. The reason why the truism, there are two sides to every story, is so foundational in real journalism is that it's universally true. Let's take Holt's silly example of the sun setting in the west. Now, a fair journalist would present both sides there. One person would say it sets in the west, another would provide a counterpoint of view. A real journalist listens to both sides, presents the facts as they know them, and then lets the people decide. But Holt is advocating that the media be the arbiter of who is credible and who is not before the people are even given an opportunity to decide for themselves. A true journalistic approach trusts the people. Holt's approach trusts elites in the press. Let me put this another way. Using the Holt model, if I were still in news and I was presented with the following claim from idiot left-wingers: defunding the police makes communities safer. To me, that's an insane statement that is tantamount to saying the sun sets in the east. According to Holt, I could simply deny Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, or any other left-wing kook the chance to explain their rationale. Determining who should be heard and who shouldn't be heard is not the job of a fair and honest press. I understand the press must determine what the big news stories of the day are. But when so-called news people make the absurd claim that they should be the gatekeepers of who is credible and who isn't, well, we should immediately turn them off. Remember, it's Lester Holt's press that determined that guys like Dr. Fauci are credible and deserve airtime.
But this is not a major threat for the people in the United States, and this is not something that the citizens of the United States right now should be worried about.
Fauci was 100% wrong when he told our own Greg Kelly back in January of 2020 the virus wasn't any big deal. Fauci trusted Communist China's puppet, the World Health Organization, and that trust of communists proved to be deadly for the United States. Meanwhile, Senator Tom Cotton was sounding the alarm about the China virus back in December of 2019, but he couldn't get any airtime on NBC or any other of the left-wing propaganda outlets. Back to the Edward R. Murrow Award winner, Lester Holt.
Our duty is to be fair to the truth. Holding those in power accountable is at the core of our function and responsibility. We need to hear our leaders' views, their policies, and reasoning. It's really important. But we have to stand ready to push back and call out falsehoods.
Oh, I see. Holt claims that his duty is to be fair to the truth. Well, whose truth? Facts are indisputable, but the truth is often in the eyes of the beholder. A lot of cases. In this excerpt from a fawning media montage, here's Lester Holt's idea of digging for the truth and holding elected leaders accountable.
You spoke to National Guard troops today in a stirring speech that, if I wasn't listening carefully, I thought you were sending soldiers off to war.
If America had listened to NBC's Lester Holt and his supposed dogged pursuit of his truth, we'd all believe that Governor COVID Cuomo is the gold standard for fighting the China virus instead of a lecherous buffoon who is responsible for the needless deaths of over 15,000 elderly New Yorkers, and then trying to cover it up. You see, folks, that's why getting both sides is so important. Lester Holt sacrificed all of his credibility as a journalist by not presenting both sides of Cuomo's issues. And that's why Lester Holt's bastardization of journalism is wrong, un-American, and it's dangerous. But Holt is hardly alone in this endeavor. Social media, in violation of Section 230 limits, and with their massive financial heft, they're seeking to institutionalize what Holt, NBC, and other so-called news outlets are attempting: unfairness. Just this week, Facebook removed a post that featured Laura Trump and the former president. Facebook, a private company, edited content. They will not allow the former president onto their private platform. It was these social media platforms and the news networks that suppressed factual stories about 4 states violating their election laws in the 2020 election. Now, if we use the Lester Holt model, he and the producers at NBC, CBS, ABC, CNN, MSNBS, Facebook, and Twitter, they determined that just like the sun sets in the west, the election was flawless. And they wouldn't let voices on their air or their platforms who were telling another side. Now, we here on the Salcedo Show didn't suppress the other side. We allowed all sides to be heard. And we've been vindicated, and will be vindicated more in the future, as Michigan courts have ruled that Secretary of State of Michigan, Jocelyn Benson, indeed violated Michigan's election laws in the 2020 election. So it seems that this conservative opinion show has more journalistic integrity than Lester Holt's network and the majority of the so-called press. The truth is, the majority of the press doesn't do journalism anymore. Lester Holt's little speech confirms that. In truth, they are liberal stenographers, liberal opinion outlets that seek to usher in an era of unfairness and double standards that will serve to silence opposition to left-wing elites in America and around the world. Now, what can you do? You can support honest news and opinion outlets like Newsmax TV. And you can work in your home state legislatures, urging them to protect you from the big tech monopolies and those who seek to institutionalize cheating at the ballot box, like Lester Holt, who seek to redefine journalism in an effort to protect their personal political agendas.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.